And how do you prepare for these races mentally? What's your routine, and how can we, or practices that you do to prepare mentally for a race?
Yeah, so I actually work with a mental performance coach now, which has been a really big game changer in the last, I think we've been maybe like 9 months or so. Um, and he we just do a lot of work about letting go of ego, of letting go of expectations and who your 9-year-old self thinks that you should be. Because a lot of where our ego comes from and our insecurities are actually from childhood development, not so much like things that we control now. So we, have a traumatic event, or we have a learned, learned coping mechanisms, or things like that influence us for so long. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's crazy that this feeling developed from your childhood. And not that to say, like, some people had very traumatic childhood, some have had less so, but we all carry things from that, and perceptions of ourselves. And so we spend a lot of time of letting go of that, and being like, okay, did you do the training? Yes. Did you do the training to the best level that you could? Yes. In the situations you were in. Okay, are you standing at the starting line with your body able to do the thing that you wanted to do? Yeah, of course, things can happen. And so it's just getting your mind out of the way and letting your body do what it trained to do the work that you put in. And so I say a lot of times, like, be here, stay here. So don't project, and don't ruminate. Don't think about what happened in the past, because you can only change what is happening right now. That's all you have control over. And it's actually just way more enjoyable because you're you're so in the moment. And so um yeah, I have worked a lot on, instead of, like, it's not that it doesn't happen. It's not that these patterns and behaviors that you have just go away like that once someone tells you that they exist, but it's
Yeah.
more of recognizing them and realizing that they don't have power over you. Like, you have control over how you feel about yourself, how you think in a race situation, how you feel during training, how you feel when someone else, you know, like, how you interact with someone on Instagram or LinkedIn. Like, you have the power over that. And so I think that just recognizing some of the behaviors that feel like maybe we can't control them, we can. And that's been a huge thing in racing, is like, control the controllables, let go of what you cannot control, and trying to figure out the difference between the two of them. Um, so yeah, a lot of that actually. Um, Something like, my old coach, he used to have me practice a lot of visualization, and I actually really don't anymore, because I find that it puts a projection on what I think should or should not happen, or what could or couldn't go out, whether it's positive or negative. And so I really kind of stayed away from that, because it doesn't give me the opportunity to be in the moment of what's happening. And it's not that, and I do think visualization works for a ton of people. I just find that if I spend too much time living in the future, then I can't accept what is going to happen when it's actually happening.
Wow, that's so powerful. So I have two questions on that. So firstly, do you have any meditations that you do before starting the race that helps you be in that peak performance stage so you can just focus on what's going on, stay in the present?
It's probably unintentional meditation in some ways, but my friend has said this before, because she's crewed me a couple of times at Hurt. She's always like, you get eerily calm. You're like so calm. It's odd, because I'm a very, like, uh very outgoing and, like, up, and probably at this is why I run so much. Is I always tell people, I'm like, if I were not 15, 20 plus miles, or like 4 to 5 hours of training deep, like you would not be able to stand me because I have a lot of energy. So I'm knocking off the top level of energy so I can exist in society and not drive everyone nuts. But she's like, you're so calm before races. Like that's always, I can always tell you're going to do well. And it's because I've learned my like process of, okay, I'm going to make sure I give myself this time to set this up. I know I'm going to be I know I'm probably going to need some time to correct things. Like you always forget something the day before, whatever. So like I start packing 2 days before, or I start like doing my drop bags, things like that 2 days before. And then I have the day before to kind of like make sure everything's together. I shopped 3 days before. Like I just have my process that's kind of like, okay, we're getting into race mode. So I think it's being very intentional about how I'm laying things out, how I'm preparing my gear. That kind of gets me in the mindset. And then also just, it's like you're letting go and accepting like I have done the work. There's nothing more I can do. It's just time to run. And I get a lot less anxious about it because I think of that mental piece of like, I trust my coaches. I trust that they have put me in a position to do my best. We've put in the training. And now like it's just time to show what you've done. It's like
True.
there's just so much less variable and so much less um fear because you put in the hard work.
Nice. And I think you shared an amazing point of like having your surroundings ready as well. That helps you basically be in that state. Okay, race day is coming. Makes sense. The other thing I want to ask you is visualization, since you mentioned it. So I think one of the podcasts you said like you also negative visualization you do that really helps you if anything bad happens in the race, you're ready. So what do you think about that instead of positive visualization?
Yeah. I was actually just reading Michael Phelps' book last night, and he also practiced negative visualization of like my goggles get filled with water. And yeah, yeah, I know, right? My old coach, yeah, definitely, he would be like, okay, imagine when everything is going poorly, because we always want to imagine kind of the dream scenario, and it never happens that way. And then you can be so thrown off if you're like, oh, well, this is how it went in my head and now it's not going this way. I have no backup plan. And so I think that negative visualization gives you a backup plan. It also helps almost like prepare you for perhaps the emotions that you're going to feel. So I used to do that a lot more. I do it less now because of kind of what I was saying of how I stay in the present moment. But I do think it's super valuable if you are someone who responds well to visualization to make sure you are not just envisioning everything going perfectly. Because truly, like that just, I mean, I can't think of a single race where that has been the case. And ultra running is, I mean, it's why as you get older, often, I mean, we see so many athletes who are later 30s, early 40s be so successful, is they're so good at responding and adapting to what is in front of them versus, because it's going to happen. There's too much time. I mean, in a 100-meter dash, in an 800, like there's just, there's not a lot of time to make any corrections. It's happening or it's not. But yeah, when you're out there for hours and hours, I mean days even at times, things are going to go wonky, and you got to be ready for that